Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Home for Anime. I am the founder of the Home for Anime, Cameron. Thank you for joining me on my channel. I am here today to talk about a political thriller that involves giant robots with my dear friend, Lebda. Lebda, how are you? Who are you?
Hello, I am Lebda. I am an elder weeb and an elder millennial that lives in Cameron's house metaphorically.
Actually, yes. That's not incorrect. Metaphorically, you would say?
Metaphorically.
Okay.
I'm in the weeb house of anime along with you, Cameron. You just own it and I just live in it too.
I mean, it's the closest thing to home ownership that I'll ever have, so I'll take it.
Go for it.
So, Lebda, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the cinematic classic, the one, the only Gundam Wing Endless Waltz OVA, three parts. Although when we saw it with a very strange amalgamation cut scene of another Gundam movie that we will talk about at another time.
At another time. Probably never, because they were
It was so
terrible.
bad.
They were terrible.
It was so bad.
So, from what you told me is that this was actually, you said there's three OVAs that was combined into one movie, and they kind of added some extra scenes to make it, I guess, cinematic.
I guess, yeah.
And it worked really well. This is like what, 90 minutes? I have this right here. An hour 34 minutes, so might as well be 90
Yep.
minutes. And I don't know, like, I'm watching this the entire time, and there's one thought in the back of my head before I'm thinking about the plot for this sequel to a show that has 50 episodes that I have never seen. I just wanted to watch the movie. I'm but I'm watching this and I'm thinking this is a Christmas movie.
It is.
It's a Christmas movie.
It is the Christmas movie of anime. It is the Die Hard of the anime world. I actually had another friend text me on Christmas Eve saying he was watching this movie so that way he could have the full experience. So you are not wrong.
I thought you were gonna say that he texted you Happy Endless Waltz Day.
Nobody sent me a screenshot, so it was close enough.
So then that just puts in my mind, I know that there are, anime special episodes on TV. I think of Pitter Patter Christmas Eve with Urusei Yatsura, but
Mm-hmm.
the only other Christmas movie, anime wise, that I can think of, which is actually my favorite Christmas movie of all time, is Tokyo Godfathers.
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. You're right. It does take place around Christmas.
It is the best. I would say it's
Oh.
his best movie, but no one cares about that. No one listens to me, except for the
Oh,
people that
they
listen to
just
this.
they've picked their one that they like anyway, and they will die in that trench. I get it.
Yeah, just like how people straight up died in Gundam.
Yep.
So let's talk about that. Lebda, what happened here? Well, how did we get here? Because you saw the show. How did we get from the show to the movie?
So the show is the story of the colonies and the Earth who are fighting. The colonies are fighting for independence from the tyrannical and I would call it evil, but the dictatorship that is the Earth Sphere Alliance. And as anyone has seen any other Gundams, they will know that this plot line, this space opera plot political notion is very similar throughout many of the Gundam shows. In this particular Gundam, we have Operation Meteor, which is where 5 young men are sent to Earth with their Gundams from the 5 different space colonies. There's L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. I didn't do that very well. L5.
Innovative.
And very, very smart and logical, I would
Hmm.
say. And these young men do not have any connection with each other. They are just all sent to Earth on the same day. And it is the story of them trying to take down the Earth Sphere Alliance. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the original start I think of the show was on November. No, was it New Year's? I should have looked that up. Anyway, I think that there is a connection there somewhere with like the beginning of the year, and then also the fact that this movie takes place on Christmas.
Do you
I
hear
think
that? Do you hear that banging?
it might be my
No,
neighbors.
it's mine. It's mine.
Oh, it's yours. I did hear that. I
Hold
did
on.
hear it.
Hold on. Cállate. Um. Anyway, so watching this, and I watched this for a specific reason. Thank you
Mm,
for filling that in. I watched this for a specific reason. Only one other time in my entire life have I watched a finale movie before watching the anime, not realizing that I was doing it, even though it was called Urusei Yatsura Movie 5, The Final Chapter. I just thought to myself, well, okay, there can't be that much, that I miss. Let's see what this is. So I watch it and I say, I need to know everything about this.
mm-hmm.
So with Endless Waltz being the finale of Gundam Wing, I say, okay, if I watch this, is it going to make me want to watch Gundam Wing? And it both did and didn't,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know how Gundam Wing ends, but this was a perfect self-contained story
Mm-hmm.
where it's kind of feels like I didn't need to watch Gundam other than the fact that these people all know who each other are. It seems like everything is pre-established, but at the same time, I just get this feeling of this is, even with it being a sequel, is very much a standalone and can be appreciated
Mm-hmm.
as much. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very tight with its pacing. There is not a single wasted moment. And we saw
Mm-hmm.
it in English dub, so the voices were, some of them were funny, but everything was oddly on point, except for there was a guy who's like probably 15 years younger than me, and he sounded 20 years older than me, because he's like
Mm-hmm.
he's like this big, and he's like, "Hey guys, it's so good to be here. Hey, how are the wife and kids?" I'm like, "Holy shit, how did you, what are they feeding these boys?"
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just a byproduct of being in the Gundam, kind of like how you don't age with the Avas? You remember that? Maybe
I
it's the
do remember that.
maybe it's the opposite with Gundams, where you just go through massive puberty all at once.
Oh, that's a good question. That's actually a good point. I don't know. To me, the male voices aren't as funny as Marimea's voice in particular. But I wonder if that is just because I have fondness for this dub because I watched it dubbed. I've never seen it subtitled. I would be curious to know what the voices sound like subbed. I know I said this to you after we watched the movie. I still haven't watched the subtitle yet, so I
Mm.
would be curious to know. I would say I don't, unfortunately, unlike with Ava, I don't think there's any biological connection between them. I think it's all mental. And if you think a mentality change is going to shift someone's voice, I think we're in a good place.
Probably, or it was an interesting choice for the English dub.
Yeah, like we watched that little like cutscene with the localizer and
Mm-hmm.
like the American localizer and the Japanese. I'm assuming he's a producer at the very beginning, and that was actually really interesting to hear kind of some of the changes and how they were trying to keep things flowing at the same pace as in Japanese. But one of the things I've always said about American dubs versus Japanese is the male voices to me are a little bit harder to hear because to me they all sound like prepubescent boys. So for you hearing this one person who was like 15 years supposedly younger than you sounding like he's like 55 and smokes like 2 packs a day, that's a very interesting tidbit and a change for me. That's a fun difference.
So I bring that up. I bring that joke up because to get into a plot point and something that you explained to me about Gundam, this this does seem to have a mental age component to it, because even though we know that these are all teenage boys, they very much feel just like hardened war veterans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the characters, I believe his name is Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Hero is consistently having this moral dilemma of I don't want there to be any more war. But
Mm-hmm.
then there are other characters who are like, war is all I know. Like that Goofy and Mickey Mouse video, if you've seen that, where it's like so Goofy is trying to get these files that are basically saying, hey, this Vietnam War is pointless, and Mickey shoots him because he's like, you don't understand, Goofy. War is all I know. And this
Ooh.
this one character is just like that.
Mm.
He's like, I have to fight for something. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
what am I doing? So there's such a th- these aside from the political themes that run through all of the Gundam series, which is what a lot of people have told me. I never once stopped to think that with politics comes war, and
Mm-hmm.
they are literally fighting in giant robots, so there is a massive psychological element for some of these characters more than others that is
Mm-hmm.
explored, like Evangelion.
Mm-hmm.
But what was kind of shocking to me is that the dilemmas that each of them went through, they they varied in scale very heavily. Because some people were just like, I'm glad that the war is over. I am fine with civilian life, but also if I have to pilot again, I really don't mind. And then others
Mm-hmm.
are, I don't know what I am without my Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're raised like that, which is basically what this is, they were raised, they were conditioned for this.
Mm-hmm.
That is very telling, these children of war. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that seeing that throughout the entire movie was a very affecting thing. Like, voices aside, funny voices aside, that is a very affecting part of watching Endless Waltz, is seeing
Mm-hmm.
the byproduct of what this show that I have not seen has done to them.
Mm-hmm. I think that one of the good things about the original Gundam Wing series is, to your point, it shows a lot more of that mentality of I am a hardened warrior, backdropped over the fact that in the very first episodes, you actually have two of these characters going in undercover at a high school, at a boarding school, for the elite of the Earth Sphere Alliance. And you can see the writing and the animation, I think, of the original show is good in showing that, like, there's no explicit like, oh, these people do not belong here. You see that they do not belong. And to actually have that carried on into the OAV, you can see that it's that continued characterization is still there. It's not like, oh, the war ended and now I'm allowed to just be whoever I want to be. To your point, you actually have these characters who are continuing almost that conditioning throughout. It's like, oh, you see the subtle differences between the growth of Hero, for example, or you see that Wu Fei, who is the one that was like, I don't know what I'm fighting for unless I have a fight to fight.
Mm,
He, like, you see those changes within their mentality, and it is bookended really well with the movie. And then when you go further into it, there is a sequel novelization to the Gundam Wing world that I don't, yes, I know. I didn't actually know this until a couple of years ago, but there is a novelization about what I think it takes place almost like 10 years after Endless Waltz,
mm,
and you see other continuations within their characterization. But with the fact that the OAV, I think Endless Waltz is only separated from the season, but from the end of the original by about a year, maybe 2 years from what I remember. You see that you see the change, but then you can also, to your point, see where that change would continue to grow and escalate.
mm. So, plot, the plot very much, I found it to be very, and I don't know a nice way to say this. This plot to me, and I say this with the notion that I always carry. Lebda, you and I both know that we are not better than anyone else. We know that a lot of
Mm-mm.
people worked very hard on this, and we are always respectful of the source material. We are respectful of the animators, unless it is an abhorrent crime to humanity, which this is not. then we will always be kind to these works. Do you know when it seems like a plot truly does not matter and it's more so a character driven narrative?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because all of this starts because of some inherent, like, I can't even fully remember the
Mm-hmm.
actual plot because there's this whole thing about this girl who is got this ancestor who is trying, she's trying to basically claim ownership over the world or something. I don't know. I it was
Mm-hmm.
very, the movie itself is so good, and
Mm-hmm.
she acts as this vehicle. Her because she kicks off the entire plot, but she is such an insignificant part of, and that's not to say that she is a weak villain because of what she inspires in others, what she ends up having to inspire in others.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I don't actually, I can honestly say I don't care about the plot of Endless Waltz from what I'm probably supposed to be caring about, which is the story. I care about how the story is affecting all of these characters as they have moved
Mm-hmm.
on from the series. And that's not to say that it's bad, and that's not to say that it was haphazardly written or anything of the sort, because it is effective in getting our characters into these moral quandaries, into
Mm-hmm.
these existential quandaries. But the story, it's not memorable.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. I think one of the good things about the OAV is because it does have a little bit of a longer runtime, and I think also it aired in three separate installments.
Mm-hmm.
But on so that way you also had a building within this like 90-minute contained storyline to kind of also see the building of it within itself, right? And I do think that once you know the characterization and you've gone through the 50 episodes of the original series, it's like, I do see where this one moment and change in characterization would bring us to this point right here. But
Mm-hmm.
exactly to your point, you don't need to see that buildup to actually understand what is happening within the movie. And I do think that the flashback scenes within that movie, because within the OAV, we get a tiny little snippet backstory of each of the pilots. And with that, you also see, oh, this is actually where you've come from, and we actually now see where we've ended up for the important characters. Marimea, which is our evil little girl. The other thing that I really love about her characterization, and the one thing that I do think that this particular Gundam does really well, is understanding what power pulls from the shadows and how much manipulation really works within the political sphere of this show and then also of the OVA.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of my favorite parts about the OVA. It's like, oh, you really actually learn it's not only that the pilots were hardened military veterans and that they were conditioned to be these ultimate warriors, but you also see, oh, the people who actually built these Gundams, how they actually got that Gundam. And then you also see from there on, it's like, oh, all of these other players within this political sphere, how they have affected and connected to each other. It's like that Always Sunny meme with that dude who's just trying to do the conspiracy theories with all the red lines and
Yeah,
whatnot.
Charlie.
Like it's a very similar kind of image, but it's not as messy. Like you can see the connections, but then also it allows you to also kind of see, oh, this is where that offshoot connection comes from. It's not just a point A to point B. It is a point A to point B, but then you see where in the middle of that we went into Z and F and E, and it's very well done. And I do agree with you. I think it's because the story is very tight and it also is concise. It's like, okay, I can show you what I want you to see. And it's like, I don't need words to show you what your eyes see. And that is kind of the best strength of the movie.
Excuse me.
No, you're good.
Yeah, thank you. Um, but but yeah, no, I see exactly what you mean. I very much, you know, I hope it doesn't seem like I'm bashing what it is that they're trying to do. It because
I don't think so.
it's so wonderfully done. I
Mm-hmm.
can't point to many. examples where the actually, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say. I was going to say potentially. No, I'm not going to go there because it's stupid. But I rarely see films, especially, and at that, sequel films where the story itself is equal parts essential and doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic Adventure 2. That's Sonic's main theme song is quite literally "It Doesn't Matter."
Really? I didn't
It
know that.
is,
That's funny.
yes. It immediately popped into my head. I'm working on a video right now, the one that I was telling you about with the Carousel of Progress, and
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I've noticed I have a terrible habit of always putting something Sonic related into my videos, and the videos never have anything to do with Sonic except one is about to, but they never have anything to do with Sonic. I always do it, but yeah, no, I really just love that this narrative is more so based on its characters than what dastardly, and it's crazy because that's the political part of it,
Mm-hmm.
which, Gundam being an inherently political series, and I'm now thinking through the rest of these series because I've had people tell me about all these different Gundams that I need to watch. I tried watching G-Quacks, or G-Quacks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get into it. I want to watch The Witch from Mercury. People say that's a
Mm-hmm.
good one. But I feel like what drives all of these, yes, there is the political element, but it really does have to come down to the characters
Mm-hmm.
for because who are these soldiers? Who are these adventurers? So this Gundam movie is exceptional as a standalone, and it is exceptional in exploring its characters.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of characters, and I'm sorry, I need to look this woman up because there's this one, and you know exactly where I'm going right now.
I do, and it makes me so happy.
Okay,
Because
Dorothy
she's amazing. She's
Dorothy
an amazing female
Catalonia.
character in the series.
Dorothy Catalonia.
That girl's eyebrows.
Let me tell you why in less than 5 minutes, Dorothy is my favorite character in the entire Gundam movie. This this woman, this adult woman, who is this adult woman? They say that Dorothy pulls up because there's a bunch of unease in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
That usually has another connotation, but in this one, it's there's a lot of unrest because, like, oh my god, the world's about to be taken over, blah blah blah. Dorothy says, all of you are pathetic. You call yourselves men? I think not. And then there's just this thing, everyone's kind of getting like kind of hyped up because Dorothy is coming, and Dorothy is in this outfit, and I'm like, okay, this woman means business. But I look up, I try to keep up with the trends, the things that the kids are saying. Slay, serve, Maxinista. This woman does it all. And it's because not
Oh.
only of her wardrobe, but I've never seen anyone with split eyebrows before. And they are so stylized. This is a woman who is in charge. And I know that there are actual diplomats. What is this woman's name? Relena. Relena is an actual diplomat, but she's not as in charge as Dorothy is, nor will she ever be.
Mm-mm. That was
Because,
that was a great. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
I
Go
was just
ahead.
going to say, because as soon as Dorothy sets them straight, she just says, here are a bunch of armored vehicles. You all are going to go fight. They
Mm-hmm.
just pull up at her command. This this woman, Dorothy, is my Gundam crush. She is everything to me. And it all
I
starts,
think she's a good choice.
it's like, you know, that 13 Reasons Why, where it's like, it all started with that smile, that damn smile. Lebda, it all started with those eyebrows, those damn eyebrows. That was the coolest pull up scene I have seen in all of anime.
Oh, it's so good. I'm trying to find, and I apologize. I accidentally interrupted you like three
No,
times, so
no,
I'm
you're
sorry about
good.
that.
You're good.
I was trying to find a picture of what this woman is wearing in the movie, and unfortunately, I can't find a good one. But I can also tell you, she is the best female character I think in the whole entire series. Period. End of discussion from regular season into the movie. She's a great foil for Relina. There is backstory on her character. She is a pacifist and she 100% believes that every political situation can be solved without violence, which in the context of Gundam, naive, but it is a good, very like, oh yes, us hardened warriors need to hear this. And then you have like Dorothy, who is all like, no, 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 no. Like you guys, like, purpose is important. And even if it is a little bit kind of unhinged, she is there to actually speak words to power and to actually be like this blunt wall where it's like, yes, your pretty dreams are pretty, but I'm here as the jagged rocks of reality. And this is what we're actually going to be doing and talking about. And she is a great character. And when we were in the theater and you made that like noise when she came on the screen, I totally understood. She is such a badass. She's so great. Ah, she's so good. And this is what she looked like. This is what she looked like in the original series. Look at that beautiful high school uniform.
Oh my
She
gosh.
was still serving even in that horrible uniform. I'm just saying.
Oh my
She's great. And
gosh.
as another character, she interacts with some of the Gundam pilots in a very different capacity. And I think you would think that she would be more badass. You would understand more. It's like we said, this OVA is so good about showing rather than telling, and they show how much of a badass she is in the movie. And then when you watch the original series, she's more active in the second half of it, and you see how much more badass she actually is. Like, it just solidifies her character, and she, as out of all of the pilots and all of the characters, her characterization is, I believe, the smoothest throughout all of them, and it's the most consistent.
Have you, and this is the only parallel that I can think of in this moment, have you ever played Final Fantasy VII?
No, but I have watched other people play Final Fantasy VII.
So, well, that kind of eliminates my next question, which was going to be if you've seen the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie.
I have seen the Advent Children movie. I
Okay,
watched it while I was doing my study abroad.
okay. So you remember Sid?
Yes.
This gave me Sid energy from Advent Children because Sid also probably like midway through the story, all the way to the end, very useful, very much a part of
Mm-hmm.
Cloud's mission. I love that. And then in the movie, they're all gearing up. They're fighting this giant demon summon thing, and everyone's showing up. Everyone's pulling up, and then Sid just shows up with a ship, and he's like, "Got myself the sheriff too. I gave you a grand tour once we're all done with this." And I'm like, "Yes." So
Yes.
Dorothy gave me Sid energy. It was like just that badass pull up for no reason. Like
Mm-hmm.
he could have been there earlier. He could have done it in a less flashy way. No, he wanted everyone to know this is what I'm contributing. I am
Mm-hmm.
in charge. It doesn't matter if I'm a side character. You are going to look at me. You are going to
Oh yeah.
remember me. In sync.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be me.
Oh, yes. That's such a good way to actually describe her character. She is the side character that is like, no, 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 no. I could be the main character of the story. I choose to be a side character. And it's so good.
She's like Seto Kaiba, except she doesn't lose.
Now that is a connection I had not made, and I think I need to actually look into these clips and see if I can see them side by side. You are right; they do give very similar energy.
I Is it bad that as much as I like the movie, I wanted to do this episode just so I could talk about Dorothy?
I mean, I do not think that it is a problem at all. We can call this subtitled Dorothy Catalonia Appreciation episode because it is totally worth it, which means you do need to watch the original series at
I
some point in
do. I
time
do.
because you will appreciate her addition into the story and the narrative so much more because, like I said, she is that badass that is unhinged. But man, she has her own resources and she's not afraid to pull up and showcase them. It's so good. It is very, very good. Yes,
Oh
we
my
have to
gosh.
we have to do it. It's official. You have to watch the show now.
I have to watch all 48 or 50 episodes just
She
just for
shows
that.
up in the second half. So maybe if you wanted to just do a recap episode of the first half, you could get away with it if you just want to appreciate Dorothy.
Does that exist?
Yeah, I'm sure we can find one.
Okay, great.
Leave it to me.
I will leave it to you
I'll
because
find it.
because of your many years of anime expertise. I know that you could do it.
My weebdom knows no bounds, but man, my vocabulary today does not. That was bad.
No, it's fine. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is I actually was telling a coworker of mine that I was going to see this in the theaters with you, and he's around your age, and
Mhm.
he said to me, he said, in all of my years of watching animation, anime, animated series, animated movies, that is one of the most beautifully animated movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Mhm.
And I would have to agree with him. And this came out in 98. So
Night, yeah. Mhm.
so I'm like fresh out the crack, I'm just over there myself. I don't know anything about the world. I'm not sentient. And then here you are getting to watch Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. And here we are 28 years later, and he is right. It is one of
Mhm.
the out of the hundreds of anime that I have seen, it is one of the best animated that I have seen. It
Mhm.
looks gorgeous, and getting to see it in a 4K restoration was
Mhm.
was magnificent. I mean, there were things that I did not know were possible that you
Mhm.
could get away with animation wise that they did in this movie so flawless. Like, this is a must watch.
Mhm. Absolutely, I agree. Like the one of the great things about Gundam is I feel like when you get into like the history of Gundam and its animation, you really see like just where the animation industry like kind of started and now where it is, right? Like if you watch the original Mobile Suit Gundam, it is at the time it was revolutionary, right? Like you actually saw real movement and arcs with all of these like 2D drawn and like 2D drawn cells. You get into the cell era, you see how important all of those types of like scenes are. And then when you get to 1997, 98, when I would say most Japanese animation and anime was becoming more popular within the US from those like niche groups of Gundam fans, as well as some of the other niche loves. Like I remember buying videos of Inuyasha back in the day,
Mm,
and though and that animation style was you could actually see when I think of the animation of like Inuyasha and I think of the animation for Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. Endless Waltz is hands down so much better. It's smooth. All of those scenes connect, the arches and all of the circular motions. When you see, yes, some hair kind of looks, like blocky, but you don't need it, right? Like when you look at the rest of the scene, like all of the like to your point, the scene where Dorothy Catalonia pulls up on all of these like hardened people in Brussels and is all like, y'all are idiots. Do you want this or do you not want this? What are you going to do to make sure that it stays? A lot of those characters were actually individually animated, and you could see little idiosyncrasies between them, and they look so good. All of the background looks good. All of the like scientific, like space, like rocket ship controls look amazing, and it is very, very well done. And when you think about it based on other anime that came out around that same time, you can see how much better it is.
And then you have to think about how revolutionary it is for it to get a 4K restoration
Mm-hmm.
in
I have heard
2026.
Yeah, I have heard that out of all of the Gundams, I think Gundam Wing is probably the quote most famous and popular within the US because it was one of the first ones that was actually aired on Toonami. And I think it
Mhm.
actually introduced a lot of American anime fans to Gundam in general. But then when I think about like other anime, so say for example, not 4 years later, Gundam Seed came out.
Mhm.
And Gundam Seed in anime style is very different from the anime style that we get from Gundam Wing. What was the studio that did this? Was it Toei? Toei did it? No, it's Sunrise. So Sunrise did Gundam Wing, and then let's see here. Gundam Seed. What was the anime? What studio did Gundam Seed? I'm sorry, everybody on this podcast. I am totally doing that thing. Oh, it was also Sunrise.
I think Sunrise has
Interesting.
done all of the Gundam for the most part.
Have they? I
I think
see. That's the
so.
thing. Like, if you look at the style of animation between Gundam Seed and Gundam Wing, it is vastly different. Gundam Seed is so round. All of those characters and characters designs, they look like, to me, they look like shoujo protagonists in space. The Gundams look great, but when you look at the how the sharp angles of Gundam Wing, they are softened in Gundam Seed, which I think is why it is not as popular as Gundam Wing was here. Because I think that round, cute style automatically triggers people into thinking this is childish. But
Mm.
then when you look at the lines and not the lines of say like Clamp, which is elongated and very Gumby like.
Oh
When you
boy.
see the long, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I am a hardened Clamp fan.
Just wait for
Gundam and Cardcaptor Sakura, those were my loves when I
just
was younger.
wait for the 3-part Holic episode
Oh,
trilogy that I've got cooking up.
man, and X Holic is a great example of how those like long Gumby esque body lines, and then you use that as comparison to the Gundam Wing lines, and they're so much neater. They're angular, and I think it goes back to your point about the hardened kind of feeling of the show and
Mm.
how that animation style matches into the overall narrative visually as well as the plot and the storyline of it. It is just it's so good. And I like I said, I think that is the reason why between those two, I think Gundam Wing still holds out as the number one Gundam here in the US versus say like Seed that came out later or Double Zero that came out later than that. And those were pretty good Gundams in my opinion. I think it's also why Iron Blooded Orphans is as popular as it is. That was one of the little shorts that we watched when we saw this kind of like special feature. And I don't know if and I we saw that we saw our dude get his beautiful purple suit,
That
which
one was cute.
you thought you were very appreciative of. And that like they're the same type of animation style, or I think they're like a good amalgamation of both. You get hardened lines that are kind of that are almost too straight, but they're too real, but they're so realistic. And I think you get that with Gundam Wing as well.
My question, this is the last one, and then if there's anything that you want to talk about before we sign off, then I'll tell a story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is that the did would you say Gundam Wing on Toonami came out around the same time as Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Sailor Moon?
Sailor Moon, I think, came out earlier just because it was on Fox and UPN at one point in time. Sailor Moon came out when I was in middle school, but when with the Toonami block, yes, they all came out around the same time. I want to say Yu Yu Hakusho came out a little after Gundam Wing, but they were in that same 4 year gap in my opinion. I remember recording Sailor Moon on VHS tapes during the summer when those new episodes came out. And Gundam Wing came out at 4 p.m., I think, during the week. And I 100% was home for that show without fail. So, yes, it
Baller.
has to be within that same 4 year block.
Because I'm thinking when you're talking about the popularity of that specific Gundam, I'm thinking about the different anime that were coming out on Toonami at that time. So that just kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Yeah. Like, I definitely would also say, I wonder what the dubbing studios were like for each of those, because I will say, of all the dubs I've ever seen, the dubs that showed up on Toonami were excellent. And that's not even including like Cowboy Bebop, because I did watch an episode of, I think it was Trash Taste, which whatever anybody thinks of those guys. One, I think it was Joey who said the reason why the dub works so well for Cowboy Bebop is because it is set and it is based on very like spaghetti westerns, which is a very American English kind of theme and idea. And I think that like Gundam Wing in particular, I think as well as Goku and Dragon Ball, they're inherently universal kind of like themes and plots. Unlike Yu Yu Hakusho, which was so Japanese in my opinion, the fact that it has stuck around so well is a boon to what's that mangaka's name? Oh shoot, he also did Hunter x Hunter. Now I can't
Higashi.
remember his name. Yeah, I think that's a boon to him more than anything else studio wise.
Well, Yu Yu Hakusho, even in its most serious moments, is hilarious.
That's
I
true.
mean, to this day, you cannot go on YouTube and social media if you are an anime fan without at least 15 times out of the year hearing, I don't care if she's a girl or a baby or someone's grandmother, I'll still knock her out.
That's actually very true. I think I do usually see that pretty at least monthly.
So, do you have any other thing that you want to talk about this movie before I tell my story?
I would definitely just say for anyone who is afraid of going into older anime, who feel that it's just not modern enough and the animation style just looks ridiculous, you should watch Gundam Wing and you should watch Endless Waltz, because it really will show you that it does not matter how old the animation style is. A good plot, narratively and visually, will hold up no matter how old it is.
I agree with that. I do. Despite me loving I love the digital early to mid 2000s era.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
that is my favorite when they were testing all of that out.
Hmm.
But I agree, watching things from the 70s, 80s, and 90s is essential, not just for anime love, but just to see how far animation has come and to
Mm-hmm.
see how good animation has always looked in
Mm-hmm.
different styles and fashions. But I'm going to tell a story of what happened when we went into the theater because I was not expecting part of that to happen. So I met Lebda at the theater, and I'm thinking, okay, this theater is right next to a Five Guys, so I'm saying, okay, great. Five Guys is still going to be open when this movie, it's three movies technically. When these three movies are
Mm-hmm.
over, we're in there for 3 hours. And then I look at the sign at Five Guys, they're going to be closed. Now, buying concessions at the movie theater, by the time you bought popcorn, you bought soda or candy or whatever, you spent probably double what you would for a grilled cheese cheeseburger from Five Guys with a peach Sprite. Hint, hint, try
See,
it.
that's so specific.
It is very specific. That's what I get every time. And so I could afford Five Guys that night. I couldn't afford movie concessions. And that is saying
Mm-hmm.
something. So we go into the theater and you ask me, are you getting any concessions? And I said, Lebda, let me tell you, Five Guys is going to be closed when this movie is over. And unless you are famous, you have the option of either being rich and ugly or poor and hot. I said, and the Lord has us choose. The Lord has us choose. And I cannot afford any of the concessions that they have at that because
Mm-mm.
I am poor and hot. And then this green man, a few rows down, just looks, he's like, I feel that. And I just kind of look down. I get up, I look down, I'm like, oh. Yeah, you definitely do. So I when the movie is over, his movie buddy is gone to the bathroom. I had to pee before we departed.
Mm.
I got out before his buddy, and I just look at him, and I don't think he knew it was me, but I said, I hope that you can clear your credit, man. I hope that you can get your money right. He said, thanks, man. You too. So,
It was such a great way to end the whole entire experience where it bookended it perfectly. It's like, good luck, bro. We all need help with our credit.
we all need help with our credit.
So good. So good. I love how at that same movie theater, I also pulled out my bag of Sour Patch Kids and was like, this is going to be my snack for the movie.
I love that for you.
Oh, it worked out well. It worked out well. Got me through the first half of that showing.
Terrible. We're not going to
It
talk
was
about
so
that.
bad.
We're not going to talk about
It
that.
was so bad.
It's a waste of my time.
It was.
Waste of my
It,
time.
it was such a cash grab. It's ridiculous. You could have shown this movie without anything before it. It didn't need anything else.
Well, it's just
It did not need it.
because it was basically just game cutscene, so I should have just played the game. That's why it
I
was a
know.
waste because I'm not getting the full context. I'm just getting
Mm-hmm.
narration. So it bothered me on a
I mean,
molecular
it was
level.
also I feel like that Gundam, whatever video game that is, I feel like that Gundam is playing off of like the Persona 5 effect, where it's all like we're gonna find this deep dark game so that way everyone can play this like secret underground death battle or whatever. And it's just like, bro, this is Gundam. People are gonna die anyway. Like that's the whole point. Like I don't, I think it was unnecessary, but not only that, those cutscenes, they made no sense. There was no story through line you could make through them. To your point, you needed that game to
No,
actually
you
make any
need
of
the
those
game
cutscenes
because if you have the
context.
game, then the context is probably great. But just
Mm-hmm.
stitching together things without, having that through line, I was just like, what is this? This is just filler. I could just watch the regular movie. I could just watch the
Mm-hmm.
the, the movie that I came here for, Endless Waltz, and I could have played that game because the cutscenes were beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't have the context because it is tied to a game.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate. But Endless Waltz was not unfortunate. So go see Endless Waltz.
Mm-hmm.
And with all of that being said, Lebda, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank all of you for listening to us yap. And thank you to, let me see, which one is it today? Thank you to my Patreon patron, the Alpha Goat. It is
Ooh.
thanks to people like them that we are able to do things like this that contribute to the collection that allow me to go to the movies to give these reviews and these deep
Mm-hmm.
dives, some of which are deeper than others because we really did just talk about characters today because that was the most
We did.
important part of Endless Waltz.
It was. It was. Next time we get together, I think we should totally talk about the fate, fake, whatever that we went
No,
to go watch
I'm
together.
never,
You don't want to talk
I don't ever want to talk about it
about
ever. But thank you all and take care.